change your mind, if you change your mind.
This marks the 100th review of this marathon. Believe me when I say this, the fact that I have reached this far into making 100 reviews, which was more than my marathons of My Little Pony 1 and 2, not combined, but separately, sums up a lot that my dedication really made this marathon a lot more important, and yet at the same time, worth the upload one by one. And with this being the 100th episode for me to review, I really feel like that this episode, Pool Hopping, while still a Beach City episode, is still mostly a Steven and Garnet episode for how seeing the point of view of Garnet, and with this taking place in Season 5, this episode really feels the type of episode that showcases of what Garnet would feel of what the future would have been like when it comes to multiple kittens. With Lars and Sadie not in charge at the Big Donut, well, not really in charge, but working at the Big Donut, Steven notices that Garnet was working at the Big Donut, and then she quit it when it comes to her future vision with multiple possibilities, and in comparison to the Future Vision episode from Season 1, which I talked about last year to wrap up some of Palooza 4 Beach Paradise, this really feels like a continuation from that episode. The only difference is that Steven and Garnet have gone along a lot more over the course of 4 seasons. They go to multiple places by delivering pizzas thanks to Garnet's Future Vision, and then they go to Vidali's place to deliver one more pizza, and then when they go on top of the stool that Vidali uses for anyone to become her muse, the inspiration that Steven and Garnet did when it comes to the pose gave her inspiration, and it took a long time for them to perfect of her inspiration, but when Garnet witness a baby kitten, they follow it, and this leads to them going into the woods to witness multiple baby kittens. But this only made Garnet in fear due to the possibilities of what could happen with these kittens, and the fact that her future vision wouldn't exactly happen 100%, since it could happen either way, but also the negative could happen when it comes to one of the kittens, which what Steven felt in Future Vision. So seeing this come back, but in a different direction that is done perfectly well, made me appreciate Garnet's character and this scene in general. The times I remember these episodes after watching them for the first time, it made me think of different vibes of how those episodes were executed. And when it comes to this episode from Season 5, I wasn't really expecting much, but when it comes to this moment alone, it really shows that characters like Garnet have changed over time, and just by seeing her in this, she really feels like that she got overwhelmed for the first time. And when it comes to how the kittens would go through multiple futures that she can't guarantee are positive, really sums up a lot that we mostly relate to Garnet when it comes to multiple ideals, but we can only do one at a time, and sometimes eliminating one of them is what Garnet is afraid of when it comes to one of the kittens being in severe danger. But at the very least, we don't have to worry about animals, even though that we technically do in this episode. I mean, if you're still concerned about animals in the real world, it will be a different topic, but the topic in this episode is mainly ideals, and Garnet, with the future vision that she has, is mainly multiple ideals of what could happen with the kittens, and that's basically what I'm describing. But what makes this episode unique is mainly the fact that with this taking place before Sapphire and Ruby got separated due to the truth, it really feels like that this is the episode where we get to see the original Garnet when it comes to how she was portrayed when it comes to her future vision. And sometimes that she wants to make things right for herself and others when it comes to doing the best future. But as far as I'm concerned, knowing full well that she can't be able to expect the unexpected from the rose quotes truth of her being Pink Diamond all along, and just by seeing her in this episode, it really feels like two completely different Garnets altogether. And for me personally, that's really the vibe that I got back then. And then when it comes to the vibe that I'm feeling right now, she's somewhat like Steven, mainly doing the future vision to figure out the future of others, which is mainly making people happy, mainly of what she did in Winter Forecast by helping out Steven and Connie to get back to Connie's place, and with Steven trying to be everyone's problem solver. I can say for a fact that what Garnet have in common with Steven is making everyone happy, just with different changes, which is Future Vision and Steven being everyone else's problem solver. This episode focuses on mental illness, and to tell you the truth, we can all deal with so many mental illness if we're ever in Garnet's position, which in adult deals we have. And every time I think of Garnet in this episode, she really has dealt with so many problems in the past that the first time she's experiencing mental illness, she's probably the best example on handling that due to her future vision. And even though that with the multiple kittens that she's mostly afraid that could mostly get hurt, at the very least, she just really wants to make things right for all the kittens. And to tell you the truth, the fact that she's mostly a kitten person, I'm honestly surprised that there isn't an episode centered around her and Lion. Believe me, it really feels a lot more awkward when you think about the direction of what this episode took, and with me being the only one thinking about it, isn't it odd to do fan art or fanfiction centering around Garnet and Lion, mainly of what Garnet feels towards kittens, and since that Lion does resemble a kitten, despite the fact that he's a lion, I really have a lot of unpredictable ideas when it comes to these pairings, which really sums up of how that these episodes gave me new inspiration that was unintentional. So in all honesty, I really found this episode one of the most unique in Season 5 when it comes to Garnet's character and the mental illness message that this episode was showcasing. Like, if I'm gonna be real with you for how before A Single Pale Rose came out, I really feel like that this is literally the last time we ever saw Garnet in this state of trying to make sure everyone gets a proper future, but at the same time the unexpected really shows that she wasn't going to have a future due to learning the truth. But at the same time, we can't blame her. There's only a few more days until we get the episode, but believe me when I say this, even though I'm not revisiting A Single Pale Rose, the way I see it, the episode is probably going to be a lot more better after revisiting it, because during my first binge watch, all I can think of is people's critiques towards Pink Diamond, who was disguised as Rose Quartz, and learning about the critiques after watching the show, I need to come up with my own perspective, which is what's really important in all this. I'm giving this episode an 8.75 out of 10.